Guys, today I'm gonna be doing what if Deku was all for one son and had all for one. Okay, one day Inko is walking down the street and he sees a handsome man, but this is just all from for one using his transformation quirk. And Inko seeing this man gets distracted and falls into a hole which was left, which leads to a sewer which the people forgot to close. She falls, and all for one uses his telekinesis quirk to catch her or like levitate her up, and she's just stunned and is in awe that this man with a telekinesis quirk like hers um didn't saved her life, and she offers him dinner, and all for one actually uh accepts, and they go for dinner and they actually have really good chemistry, and one thing leads to another. Their Inko is pregnant, and then the baby is born. They decide to name this baby Deku, not Deku, Zuku, and I'm gonna say all for one's last name, Midoriya. So, due to um Zuko's birth, All for One takes time off of his villain career, and All Might just thinks he's in hiding. Due to this, I'm going to say All Might doesn't actually get his injury. So yeah. So so when Deku's about 2 years old, I'm gonna say he's he uses he like touches his mom and starts floating a table, and Inku is like, wow, you can have telekinesis quirk, and it's really strong too. And Inku tries to levitate something, and it doesn't work, and she thinks that's strange. Maybe I'm not focusing enough. That's not right. And and Deku touches her again, and it falls. The table falls, and her quirk starts working. All for one, just watching this is like, wait, I know Inko's like limitations. She can't do that. Her quirk isn't that strong. Wait, can he steal quirks and enhance them? And he's just rubbing his head violently, thinking, with this kind of power, I can easily beat um one for all. And he's just like, this kind of snaps him back into his like villain persona, and but he acts normal. So the next like 4 years, he's just ingraining in Deku's brain. Heroes are bad. Heroes are bad. Heroes are bad. Heroes are bad. And like he has this villain persona, Deku, but he doesn't really show it. He doesn't show that like his villain persona, but he has it. So Deku, when he's 6 years old, all for one explains his power and gives him depth, and he tells him and he explains all that jazz, and he knows everything about his power. And so All for One says it's time to go quirk hunting. Every month we'll hunt for a new quirk. First is this hero that has um has firepower, believed to almost rival endeavors. And they go All for One quickly dispatches of this guy, given that he's All for One. And Deku and All for One tells him to touch him, and he gets the power, and but when he uses it, the fire isn't red, and All for One is having cold sweat dripping, and it's just having a huge grin, while the fire is blue, and and Deku's just like, cool, he's 6. And so yeah, so he trains with this. He's mastered it. A month pass, and he goes and a new quirk, like a regeneration quirk, and yeah. So all for one tells Deku to dispatch of him, and Deku fries him to crisp, and he's just like in a burnt state, but he regenerates a little bit, and he's fine. And then Deku takes his power, and he has regeneration. He doesn't really master regeneration, so like a month later, um, he goes for another person, and a hardening quirk this time, which turns the user's like body into steel, and and then and all for one says you like handle it, try and like defeat him, and so he hardens himself, but since the steel and Deku's flame is hot enough, he just faints due to the heat of Deku's flames, and he absorbs his power. And a month later, I mean, Deku's power actually evolved into like diamonds, so it's not still diamonds. So a month later, Deku has actually mastered this turning it off and on, and various parts of his body. So I'm gonna say, like a month later, he goes and gets this quirk that allows him to like slow down time, but the user can it's moves very slow, so it's more like a perception and speed at the same time. But so yeah, so to about 500% decrease in time, and you can move very slowly. So but to other people it looks very fast. So Deku actually has a hard time, but um versus this hero, he slows down time, and then and I mean the hero slows down time, tries to punch Deku, but his skin hardens and and into diamonds, which is almost unbreakable. And Deku um just grabs him mid slow motion and takes his quirks, which leaves him in a like a bad state, and he slows down time, but it's not 500, it's 1,000 times, and he can move normally, which makes him just like go crazy fast. And so a month later, Deku is going for his neck like hunting, and this time for um he's going for like this guy with the quirk to perceive like time. So he does this perceive time. So like I mean like see the future, like um he can see like 1 minute into the future, and it's like night ice quirk, but it's like the actual future, not somebody's future, like the future. So he can see to 1 minute into the future, and the more minutes he sees into, the less like probability will happen. So Deku goes up against, and All for One is like watching, like saying you've trained more, and your quirk that you've absorbed has become more powerful. You can do this. And if you guys are wondering why every month he takes quirks, is because not to raise suspicion. So Deku like goes against him, and this guy's actually pretty decently fast. He has really good training, but Deku actually goes super fast. He's like, to him he's going at light speed to him, because he's not that fast. He's just decently fast, and he takes his quirk, and yeah, he takes his quirk pretty easily, and he can see 10 minutes into the future, and the and so yeah, 10 minutes perfectly into the future. So yeah, so so All Might like is like talking to the victims of the attacks and saying it's this kid, and some huge guy offer one, and he's thinking, does he have a kid? And he's like, he's this strong. Imagine in a few years, and and so he decides to take the most powerful person he knows, Todoroki. And Todoroki talks to Endeavor, and they talk about it, and he says, yeah. So when All for One is given to Todoroki, he can use he has everybody training him, Gran Torino, and so at this time, since Todoroki is about 6, he can only use 1% of One for All, but his flames are black like Amaterasu, and his ice is blue, not white. Because you guys didn't know, blue ice is like much colder, much colder, and they're more durable. So yeah, so 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 after this, since Deku has a like decent amount of quirks, 1 year passes, and yeah, so 1 year passes, and it's Deku's birthday, and all for one is like, I got a few more quirks for you to get, which is which really are really good, that will coexist with your regeneration. And so since it's your birthday, we're gonna hunt for 3 quirks instead of 1. So it's been like 6 months since he's gotten all of his quirks. So yeah, so since it's his 7th birthday, he goes to the hero of UA, which can control projectiles. I can't remember his name, and he attacks. This guy bullets are like going crazy fast, and in slow motion. They're pretty decently like fast, and even in slow motion. And Neku's having a hard time dodging them. And even when one of them actually lands, he uses his hardening quirk last second, and then it leaves a big dent, but it slowly regenerates. And and Deku, like kind of angry like he did that, just starts walking, and then he just and the person is finding bullets upon bullets, and and he's just walking through them, and the guy's like, what are you, what are you? And like out of fear rushes him, but then Deku appears behind him, chops him on the neck, and absorbs his power. And so he's done. And Deku says to for all for one. I was expecting that to be a little bit more of a challenge. And so if you guys didn't know, so like the first 3 years, like 3 years, 3 to 6 years, All for One has just been crabbing. Heroes are bad. Heroes are bad. Heroes are bad. Villains are good. Villains are good. Villains are good. So he just has this villain persona, a very serious villain persona, but he doesn't show it to people. So yeah. So so um so so All for One says, you're gonna like this one. He says this guy has the power to increase his power by 10%. Each drop of blood equals 10%. He's an average human, um, so yeah. So he confronts him. The guy uses about 50%, 5 drops of blood, 15%. He's like decently fast, and he sees Deku is just like a whole nother level, so he ups it to 1000%. Then he's like, Deku's actually seeing him like in normal motion, like not actually in slow motion. And when he turns on slow motion, you can see him moving like normal, not like super slow motion. So he rushes him, and he sees Deku dodging this. He uses the 1,000 drops of blood, which is like he's like having fatigue, but he's actually like catching up to Deku, and Deku's like interesting, and then he's dodging everything though because of his perception quirk, and the man like does 2,000 drops, and then 3,000 drops, and then this one is on par with Deku, and Deku is just dodging left and right because of perception quirk, but the man uses like 500 drops and gets the edge on him. Even though seeing it, he can't really react. But surely he keeps losing his speed. He keeps losing his speed. But then Deku punches him and he drops. And Deku tells him, "Well, that was a shame, but you lost a lot of blood. I don't think you can fight in that condition." And Deku just absorbs his power. And Deku says, "With my regeneration quirk, this quirk will be very, very powerful." And and All for One says, you know that Kachan kid, your friend? Yeah, we're gonna visit him now." And and he steals Kachan quirks. All for One gives him a transformation quirk actually. He gives and he transforms into a random person and steals Kachan quirk. Without knowing actually, he goes like max slow motion and uses about 1,000 drops, which isn't a lot because he regens blood, and he just goes max speed so people can't even see him. And he uses like a sort of flash step just because he's going that fast to like do like the fast step to like make a mirage of himself so people still see him there, but it's just a mirage. So yeah, so he steals Kachan's quirk, and Deku's like, "What's this for?" If you notice, he actually uses sweat, so combined with your blue flames, you can cover a wide area. And at this point, Todoroki is really strong actually. He's about if he's about like number 5 hero level, and he can use about, since it's been 1 year, he can use about 8% one for all. So yeah, this is a crazy amount for him being a 7-year-old. But that's the max he can use, so his bones will just start popping. So and for at the end of it, all for one says, "The present from me to you, since it's your birthday." And by the way, all for one actually goes out to eat with Deku, and they have like a really fun party. And afterwards, they're gonna like have like a big party with Inko. Inko doesn't actually know that they're villains, but yeah. So all for one gives Deku a teleportation quirk, and also gives him a fire resistant quirk to help him handle his fire quirk, so it doesn't accidentally like burn him. So yeah. So um yeah. So Todoroki is like 8%, and his flames has increased massively because Endeavor has been training him, and Endeavor has been going to his mom and like forcing him, like grudging him to give him tips by like 4 so he can make spears and stuff like that if he needs to. And Todoroki actually has a fire resistance and ice resistance, so like no matter how hot, no matter how cold it is, it can't hurt him. And if you guys are thinking Todoroki's OP, you don't even know what's up next for Deku. So Deku is like Deku has teleportation quirk and he has Bakugo quirk. Meanwhile, Bakugo is like breaking down like what what happened to my quirk? And he's just crying, just breaking down. And meanwhile, All for One says, "I think you're ready to take on Endeavor." And so so yeah. So um so um so when he encounters Endeavor, he says, "I'm going to steal your quirk and kill you." And he just tells Endeavor that like with a confidence, and he uses his flames, and Endeavor uses his flames, but for some reason, even them being blue, they're more powerful. The Endeavor's flame are more powerful and they overpower his. And Deku tries and use like his slow motion, but Endeavor reacts to this, and does a firewall, but Deku actually gets hit by this, and he has a scratch, and he's confused. Wait a minute, um, don't I have fire resistance? And he's like, and then so he activates his hardening quirk, and turns into diamonds. Then he rushes Endeavor, and Endeavor with his still like fire, like wall on, good, and um Deku's armor starts to crack, but regeneration is keeping them together, and that's the only thing keeping them together. So Deku sacrificing 500 drops of blood almost outspeeds Endeavor's like capability, but he's still like Endeavor can still react to him, and he Endeavor cranks it up to 50%, and it's way hotter, and Deku is like cracking, and Deku's like, this is gonna be my final move, and he decides to he decides to use his like quirk to control things, to like control the fireballs, to like distract him, while he uses everything in his arsenal to go max speed, everything, and he's just spewing out nitroglycerin everywhere along the battlefield, and then he teleports to All for One. And All for One is like, what are you doing here? Aren't you supposed to be battling him? And Deku whispers in his ear, enjoy the show. And as he says this, um, Endeavor says, what kind of tricks are you playing? And tries to use a fire attack, but just explodes the whole battlefield, leaving Endeavor in a crisp. And 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 Deku's like, oh no, wait, oh no, I forgot to take his power. Well, I already have a pretty good fire quirk, so I'll survive. And everyone's actually surprised. He thought he was gonna actually have to step in and help Deku. And seeing this, 7 years old, um, um, one like All for One starts like having cold sweat and violently scratching his like head again, and it's just like, with this kind of power he can for sure be all for one for all, and he's just like having a huge grin, and then Izuku says, "Father, are you okay?" And he says, "Yeah, I was just getting lost in my thoughts." So yeah. So, guys, if tell me any quote you want me to give him in the skip, in like the 5 year skip. So like 5 6 years, I think. What, and also I was like, what age is Zuga? I'll do some research in that, in the original. So any quirk in the world, and give me like quirks that complement his quirks, and yeah. So yeah, and I have a quote that's gonna help you against the future battle against Todoroki. And in the next episode, I'm gonna like view Todoroki's reaction to his dad being dead and all that jazz. So yeah,